this session. Oh, okay, cool. It's recording. So here's what you can expect from today. Roman and the fantastic team at Impressit, which is a incredible developer agency based in Ukraine. They're going to be leading discussion today to talk about how founders are currently using AI, whether or not they're outsourcing solutions, whether or not they've been playing around with different co-pilots, what's been working well, what hasn't. We've had a lot of discussions with founders already about trying out different applications and what's wasting their time, what's wasting their money, and what's actually driving efficiency. So as I said, it's going to be very interactive. We've got about 4 or 5 questions that we're going to be talking through today. You should have all received the questions ahead of time in the email. I'll put them in the chat as well. And then we'll have a little icebreaker too to kind of kick off the discussion. But Roman, I'll hand it over to you for now.
Awesome. Thanks, Margaret. So really happy to see everyone. I see some familiar faces as well. So great to see you all. So yeah, briefly about myself and Roman, co-founder and CEO of Impressit. I have quite a big support team with me this time. So Andrew, who's my co-founder and CTO, Josh, our head of sales, and Dima, our head of marketing. So all of us are big fans of AI, both, let's say, not only building some new tools, but also like using some of existing tools on day-to-day basis. And we teamed up with Am and Hotbed and thought that it would be great to have like this session when we exchange our experiences, talk about what tools work, both, let's say, within your product as a feature enabler, but also like some of the AI tools that you use to automate some of your activities on day-to-day basis. And yeah, just learn from each other experiences. So and obviously we are here to also like answer any of your questions because some might be very familiar with AI, both let's say as a user and as a developer. But for others, this could be something like quite a distant realm. So we would love to hear any of your questions and try to, yeah, get you as, let's say, familiar with all the possibilities that AI is opening up to startup founders. Cool. And I'll hope Am will help me kind of like, yeah, curate this discussion so that we make it as efficient and as valuable for everyone as possible.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna kick it off with the icebreaker question, and then I'll shut up a bit more because believe me, you guys want to hear much more from Roman about AI than me. But the first question, we'll just go around. And if you have a suggestion or if you have something you want to say for the icebreaker, please do say your name, say your startup. We'll try to keep it to like 20, 30 seconds per person, get through a quick rapid fire round, and then we'll dive deeper in the topics that I put in the chat. So it's if you could automate one thing in your startup with AI today, what would it be? I'll start. If I could automate one thing when we run our programs, the prompting of the founders who haven't submitted their weekly updates would save me several hours a week. And I would love that. And I'm sure it's doable, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I can go next. So yeah, if I would like to automate one thing with AI, that would be probably lead generation. Josh will probably support me there. So there are already a lot of lead gen tools, so-called like AI SDRs in the market. So we played with a couple of them. Actually, my close friends are founders with of one of those tools as well. And they work well, but as lead gen, it's always about, the right value proposition to the right audience. So, and with AI SDR tools, it pretty much works the same. So if your value proposition is quite generic, so AI tools will not give that much benefit either. So, but yeah, I would love to have like that, like magic pill that just brings leads, and you just, pour a bit more money, more leads coming in, reduce the budget, fewer leads if you're like overwhelmed with opportunities. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, maybe I will give some input here. First of all, nice to meet you guys. I'm more technical than Roman, and I will try to provide some information from a technical point of view. And so, first of all, Roman and I are founders of another our AI platform called Assist Me, and this platform was started from the like our personal needs to automate internal processes in the Impressit. And to be honest, it is really useful tool to generate some different meeting notes, but it's like the basic and just execution of some complicated tasks by AI. And nowadays, I think there are a lot of different ways to automate a lot of different processes, business processes. But at the same time, I would like to say that uh, today it is not correct to take AI as a final decision maker, and it should be more as a helper of your work. And in most cases, you will need to verify what AI generate to you. I think there are some specific directions where you can like say that, okay, AI can totally cover all the things that I need to do and take responsibility for everything. But mostly, you still need to verify what AI provides and what kind of result you will like proceed with. So yeah, thank you.
Nice. Darren, you're popping up on my list next, so I'm gonna pick on you first. And also, just for the sake of time, if anyone specifically wants to share something fabulous, other than that, we'll probably go through like the first 5, 6 people that pop up on my participant list. Other than that, and then after that, we'll cut to the first topic.
Thanks, Margaret. Lovely to be popping up on your thing first. Firstly, well, I just say thanks for organising again. You always do incredibly well at Hotbed in organising these sorts of things. In answer to the question, I'm with Roman on the automating the lead gen aspect. Absolutely, but also I think from a sort of personal business perspective, we want to incorporate AI into some of our front end workflows. That's in app to assist in that more so generative AI to grab things for our clients. But I'll explain more about that another time. But that's ideally what we'd like to do. Thanks.
Nice. Jeff, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Jeff Torrell. I'm one of the co-founders at CarCloud, and we are digitized. We're bringing digital convenience to car ownership, a difficult space to manage. And in context of that, there's so many things that we want to do with AI tools, but probably leading it is how we use AI tools to, in effect, bring mass personalization. How do we get a personalized experience? Thinking about all the things you do with your car, the communication you need, very circumstantially based on your own needs. How do we use the tools and the data that we're bringing in to pull that together to create a personalized experience at scale for our users?
Love to talk more about the use cases for car industry with you. I'm a huge car guy.
That'd be great. That'd be great to do so. Yeah.
Marco.
Hi, Marco Zerdin, Configure Software, founder of Configure Software. We do the configuration management and software migration automation. Well, I would actually join Roman and Darren, but there is another aspect to it, which is it is essentially lead generation, but also during the fundraising, essentially angel and VC filtering, essentially based on whatever you are looking for, based on their history, etc., etc. That would be nice because there's so many different platforms and so many different places, and then you have to go to the website and look at. So yeah, that would be really nice. That takes a lot of time during fundraising. But yeah, lead gen obviously is very, very annoying. Yeah, I have obviously other stuff as well in the product, but that gets very technical. So that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, and then Adam, you'll be the last person I'll pick on for the icebreaker. If anyone else wants to share, though, what the main thing that they'd like to automate in their business is in the chat, that'd be fantastic. Adam, go for it.
Thanks, Em. So I'm Adam, founder of AutoComply AI, which is a platform that is automating compliance processes in software through the use of an AI agent that will act as your co-data protection officer. We've actually been taking a very AI first approach. So we're trying to use as much AI as we can from whether that's the dev tools that are available. But I think the piece there that's still jarring can be things like lead gen, building up that list. I think some kind of marketing automation would be really useful where we can automate the content, but where it's not slop. The marketing is like make it actually relevant and enough that it's promoting the right things in the right space to the right people.
Thanks. Okay, so the first topic that we're going to start with is off-the-shelf tools versus custom AI model development. What I'll also say is the 4 topics we shared, just for the sake of time, if there's anything that would be particularly relevant for you, like if any of the topics are something that you want to make sure we cover, please put it in the chat or just message me. Likewise, if there's something that would be helpful for you that is not covered in these topics, also let me know and we can see if we can weave that into our discussion. But Roman, I'll hand it over to you.
Sure, I'll be really brief because obviously I want to hear more from founders what they think on this. But I think it's quite, on the surface that whenever you don't necessarily need to build something custom, just use off-the-shelf tools as long as they are secure, they're like, let's say, supported, have a strong team behind them. So obviously you don't want to rely on a tool which is, let's say, a startup similarly as yours, and they go bust, in a couple of weeks, and all of your, let's say, infrastructure is set up around them. So, but yeah, whenever you can use something off the shelf, it's obviously better to go with that and build only if necessary and when necessary. So maybe later down the road, the fees that you're paying to that tool just are like ramped up to some unnecessary amount, and then it makes sense to build something custom, build something on your own to bring those tools, those costs for those tools down. And you can obviously give more details about the complexities of building a custom AI model, but I'm pretty sure most of people here already understand that it's quite, resource and fund consuming. So, but yeah, would love to hear more from anyone else on this topic. By the way, if you're interested in like the why aspect of like why building custom models is that expensive, so yeah, maybe react in the chat and Andrew can give more technical input on this.
Has anyone been using an off-the-shelf model or tool right now in order to test whether or not it's like useful before investing in that? Michael, I see you raising your hand. Do you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously the general philosophy here is that we only do ourselves what we really have to do. So anything else if you have specialists doing something, you're never going to do such a good job. So you have to have a good reason to do your custom thing. So we are essentially developing. We have like for example, for SaaS, vendors, analytics of how people are using their configurations, and there we need a custom, graph-based machine learning and stuff to do that stuff because it just doesn't exist. But if we are talking about stuff like, I don't know, GitHub Copilot, why would I develop my own? It's there's a much bigger team, much better resourced, has longevity, everything. So, that's the philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I think that Mark is right. And at Impressed, we actually quite oftenly faced with different requirements from our customers to integrate existing AI models to their products, or sometimes it comes to do something special for them in the scope of their business. And usually, I would even say like almost always, it every time comes to using existing AI model, but there are multiple ways of how to use them. The first and the simplest one is just take it and use, integrate it through the API interface or in any other like easy way to do this. Also, sometimes we need to provide additional information to the AI that AI basically don't know from the scratch, from the like roots. And at that specific point, there are two different ways. First of all, we can use RAG approach. It's when we like gathering some information, maybe scraping the websites, scraping the resources, like external resources, uh, classify data and put it to specific vector databases that will that will be used to like take some specific information for specific request to the AI and provide it to AI model as additional context. So AI will prioritize this data when generate the answers. And another way is more complicated. It's called fine tuning. It's the specific process, and it's more related to machine learning. When we collect data as well, we classify it, and we uh, teach AI models to work with it like by default, without any additional context later. And if you will, if you work with any existing, like for example, the most popular I think right now is GPT model. Even on their website, in the documentation, you will find recommendation to try first of all the most simplest way, because fine tuning is one of the most like expensive way to teach AI something. Another one is creating custom AI model, custom like neural network, and it's like I think the most complicated way because it's more R&D. It always come to configuration, to different parameters amount. Like there are billions of parameters that AI will handle later, and sometimes it like worth it, sometimes not. And right now in the market there are like trend that investors and venture funds they mostly interested in the products that are use existing AI models than like creating their own, because in like most cases it will like disaster when you try to do something. Even like for example, small example, uh, McDonald's spent $1 million with IBM to create a model that will generate specific like order menus or something, like orders for their clients, like, and they failed it. So they spent like few years, $1 million, and closed the project because it doesn't work.
It's a really interesting case because I imagine that models like even like OpenAI, for Gemini should handle that speech recognition and putting together an order fairly simply.
Pretty
So it's
much.
a very, very interesting case.
I think that they have some specific requirements. Yeah, another case, for example, healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most like popular domain right now for using AI, but in the same time, it is more the most complicated because nobody wants share their health data with AI models, and this everything comes to security issue to like where we need to take this data to teach AI models to work with it. For example, for blood analysis or any other, for example, mm, analyze the images of the uh, how would say MRT. I don't know. Is it like on English?
uh, yeah, like computer tomography.
Scans,
Yeah,
scans,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
MRI.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
finding some anomalies on this on these images. So, and just the most popular way to teach right now AI to work with this data is generate this data by AI. Like you can ask any like Midjourney or maybe like DALL-E 3 models to generate some fake data for you. And then you will take this fake data, synthetic data, and put it to your own AI model, or to do some fine tuning for like existing AI model to teach to find some anomaly. And this is the most popular way to teach something for AI. Maybe some big companies, healthcare companies, can do everything in their own ecosystem securely without like sharing and exposing this data outside. But I think it's more unique cases than something that can be regular.
I want to make sure I know I see some of the founders in the chat who I know aren't technical founders, and so I want to make sure that for founders who are starting out, maybe they have a product, but no one on the founding team is technical. When they're thinking about, like, let's say the icebreaker question, right? They have some part of their business that they want to automate. Let's say it's lead gen or following up with inquiries. What's the basic way to go about that? Like, do you just type into Google, like, what's the best AI tool for this? What are parameters that or like, what's a framework that people can use in order to decide whether or not this is the right tool for them to try out?
Yeah, at Impressed, we provide a service called Discovery AI, where we can like sit with founders and go through their internal business processes with our AI expert or business analysis to find any possibility to optimize their processes with AI. And usually in different businesses there are a lot of processes that are in common, and we can say that a lot of the processes are already automated on the market in one or other way. And but for some specific ways and maybe some specific workflows that business following, we can do a workshop in scope of like to help them to find a way and the most suitable AI models that can help them to increase their performance and efficiency.
Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that one is really particularly interesting to discuss.
It's going to be founders' favorite AI tools. So either ops, marketing, sales, hiring, I don't know, even maybe like content posting on LinkedIn, things like that. What are people using now, and what's worked for them? Similarly, what hasn't worked for them? I can start. Otter AI, I find uber annoying. I've tried them. I also tried Granola as well, which was apparently the one that was supposed to be fantastic. And it had so many bugs in it, I could hardly, like, it was not reliable whatsoever. So those are the two I don't like. And I don't have any favorite tools right now. So I'd love to hear what's working for people.
Can I just ask something that might be linked to that? Is if you say generate a content piece using AI, or you've put a piece together that you then throw into ChatGPT or something to tidy up so it's articulated better, are platforms like LinkedIn picking up that this has been done, even though they've got a button that's generate, with AI? Like, are they picking up that that's come from, it's been copied and pasted, it's come from AI? Because I've definitely noticed, like, where I've done that, where if I've just done a lazy post and it's like, ChatGPT, write me a post for this, like, the post is generally pretty poor, like, it doesn't receive any interactions or anything. But if I even do like a tidy up of my own post, again, the reactions aren't always great. And I'm just wondering, like, is that, going back to the people's favorite tools, have they found this is happening anyway, or are the tools that people are using, are they working around that as well? Like,
Yeah, I have a quick comment to that. I don't think necessarily LinkedIn has already implemented some algorithms to identify AI generated content. I think it's just that organically, like, people sense a genuine content, genuine experience that someone shares, or it's like a another one marketing content and doesn't bring that much value. So I think it's more like a organic filter that just filters out more generic content, and like the one which is more authentic gains more visibility as people react, and then LinkedIn picks up and tags that content as relevant and boosts it.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to actually add to that as well. You pretty much stole the words from my mouth. One of the things that I would also say is
really heavy on the personalization aspect. So obviously AI and ChatGPT, they really do help to, as you mentioned, Adam, articulate things better. A lot of times we have this kind of mess in our head and we want to get it out and we want to make it sure that it sounds nice. But there is something that I'm trying to remember his name. I don't remember right now off the top of my head. A neuroscientist was talking on a podcast about AI and the future of AI. And one of the things that he mentioned, and I completely agree with, is the fact that AI is up to date, right? But it's still not always able to share your experiences. And this is where people always come to win in these conversations, is that if you have a really good conversation with great insights that come out of the conversation, ChatGPT or any other alternative is not going to be able to pull those insights into something that you just say, hey, give me a post about whatever. And so I think that it really is important to utilize it in a way, as we've always talked about this for a long time, utilize it to be an assistant, not to be the brains behind the operation. So I think that, giving it the aspects and saying, this is what I want to talk about. Here's my personal experience, even giving a 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph idea of what it is that's inside your head, and then just saying, give me some supporting facts around that. I think that's something that also, with what Roman mentioned, people will notice. It's either AI, or it's something that's actually genuine from someone's personal opinion. So yeah, I would say using them as an assistant is great, but making sure to keep that personal touch or the real stories that are behind the intention of creating this post or this content.
Yeah, that's really useful, and it makes sense as well. It's like say it's the pattern recognition of like just a pure AI post and it going nowhere, even though it's got some great content in it, compared to just actually using it as, like say, as an assistant to tidy something up, compared to just a post that I've just written myself. And I'm not prolific on it, so I've not got the data around it. It just felt like I wondered if they were picking something up.
I actually think well, I agree with Joshua and Roman, and I think it's human empathy. I think we can pick up on what is written in a natural form against what is written in an AI form. It's kind of quite obvious actually when you compare and contrast. And what I tend to do is utilize both. So I'll kind of create something of my own, use ChatGPT to sort of modify it, professionalize it in a way, and then I'll re-emphasize a personalized sort of input of it before I post. So I do two or three things before I post, and I find that kind of helps just my process. The other thing, just going back to what Margaret said, I hate Otter 2. Can't get rid of it for whatever reason. I'm going to try again, but I do use Fathom. And I found it really, really useful. In fact, it's recording this whole thing now, and it will summarize and give me an output post event. It's really, really useful in that sense. So it's just my 2 penny worth.
One thing on the LinkedIn bit that might be contributing to the I guess the way the LinkedIn algorithm works with those posts is like if I spend 1 minute on LinkedIn and I'm scrolling through and I hit like 4 or 5 posts in a row that had the exact same tone, to me that's just like, I think that actually just devalues LinkedIn as a whole, because it's like, what am I even reading? I'm reading something that maybe even the person who posted it didn't properly read, and it just feels like kind of a waste of time, versus when you log in and you see people's personalities and emotions in their posts, right? You're seeing something different, versus if you're just seeing the exact same thing, it's not a good experience for the end user. So like I do understand why, if they are trying to flag that, maybe they aren't trying to flag the AI bit, but maybe they're looking for something around like tone or perhaps something to that effect. I was just going to share one other tool that I came across this morning, but I haven't tried it out, and I'm going to find the name of it. But I was watching this Stephen Bartlett video. It was like behind the scenes of Megan's company, and he listed this one AI tool that essentially, if you're writing an email or create a LinkedIn post or something like that, you can hit a button just on your keyboard, and it records, dictates everything that you're saying, but it clears it up while you speak. So if you have any like ums or uhs and stutter a little bit or have to repeat something, it will remove all of that and make you sound like the smartest, most I could have used it right there actually. It makes you sound like the smartest, most like articulate version of yourself. I'll find the name of that. I'll find the name of that right now.
Does it work in real time, or it's for recording some content and then like it Yeah, you see, like I need that tool as well.
It's for the example he gave was responding to email. So he would go through and or if he wanted to send a document to
Uh-huh.
his team, he could just speak and the document would be created. Let me find the name of
Another
it.
tool, one tool that so a couple of tools. I am a developer, so I use Cursor quite frequently. That helps me to prototype production level pipelines from scratch, which would have taken me 2 weeks and 2 days. Moreover, on the marketing side, for lead generation, we use something called Clay, which allows you to enrich the different lookalikes and the different kinds of, you can have like much more sophisticated queries, which brings the data. And for a search engine, you also can look into something called Extra Labs. They have these search sets, which allows you to go much more sophisticated searches across LinkedIn, across different founder profiles. So these are some of the tools that we have found quite a lot of value.
Can you
Also on
put
my
names of those tools in the chat?
Yeah, also on my side, I wanted to mention two different tools that I've been using that I've tried. One for sure is the one that I would use more often. So just background about me, I've been doing sales and marketing for about a decade now. So I've pretty much tried all of the Otters and the TLDVs of the digital world. I really, not to be biased, but I can say that AssistMe is something that I've used more often than any of the other ones, just because it really does transcribe very, very clean and very well. And there's a lot of work that goes into it that I'm not extremely technical, so I won't go into that, make myself sound like an idiot. But basically, it really does do a really good job of transcribing everything and pulling everything out, but also pulling out key pieces of information that through custom prompt engineering, you can actually set up. So each team actually could make, say, like, I need this to be pulled out, I need this to be pulled out, and then need this to be pulled out, which whether you're in fintech or if you're in customer support or if you're in health tech, there's different things that those calls are going to be revolved around, right? You don't just want like an overview or a summary of the call and how it went. And so that's really helped me a lot, and I really enjoy using that. But the second one that we tried ourselves is it's a thing called Cintra AI, which if you've not heard of this, it's an interesting tool. I would say it's better positioned for earlier stage companies that don't have a large team and have more of a need to kind of have the tedious, or let's say the smaller tasks get done quicker. Essentially what it is, it's a platform of, I believe, 12 different employees that are AI employees, and each one has a specific function. So one is focused for copywriting, one is focused for business development, one is focused for being an assistant. And then there's a quite broad list of all of the different employees that you get with the package. So you can either basically go in and hire one employee for a certain price, like $40, I think, or you can get all 12 if it's on discount for like under $100, which is really great because you can essentially, it has a brain. So you fill in information. So you can upload your document, you can upload your vision statement or your company values and all of the things that you would find valuable, whether this is for creating a piece of content or sending a cold email. Basically, you fill this brain with all the information about you and your company, so that then you can just open up the dashboard and say, hey, I need so-and-so. And it will pull all the information from what you've already included and then give you the task, basically working while you're sleeping or working while you're doing other things at the same time. I would say it doesn't work as well for larger companies, just because typically at that point, you really don't have a need for the smaller tasks to be done in the same manner as if you're a team of like 5 or 10 people, where you pretty much need the additional support if you can get it, which is obviously why a lot of people have interns working with them. But with larger companies, then of course you don't really need to have somebody writing you a cold email, because you most likely have somebody that's focused on the marketing aspect of copy or copywriting essentially. So it's an interesting tool. I'll send the link for it as well. Maybe that would be a help, especially if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you need some little AI buddies that are cute to take some things off of your plate.
Joshua, can I just ask you about, hi, Jackie here from Hubnote, great session, everyone, about security or data with, or, privacy with that, if you're uploading all of your sort of secret sauce stuff to this platform, or, a lot of information about your company. How do you worry about that, or are there
Well, I would say that there are some things that I would be hesitant to upload into if you're talking about Sintra. I didn't end up uploading a lot just because we tested it out, realized that we didn't really need it. Honestly, my honest opinion, ChatGPT did a great job compared to Sintra, and so we realized it doesn't make sense for us to have multiple tools doing the same thing because our biggest need was just kind of doing a little bit of assistance with copywriting, articulating, as opposed to the business development side or this SEO side, which they also have. So I didn't end up uploading a lot of confidential information, if any. And I think there's probably a very strong security protocol set in place with them. So I'm sure you can find out more about that on the site. I can't really help you more than what I just shared. So yeah,
Great, thanks.
sure.
It's a slightly different angle, but based on the note you sent out to sort of pre-prep for the call, I just asked around colleagues, and what we started to do is really we were only really using AI to check our code, and now based off really tightening our PRDs, we're now just at the early stage of investigating developing code with a mixture of AI tools. And I thought it would be absolutely balmy and not even possible, but I've been really struck by, and we've only really been in since Christmas, the speed at which our output is growing and the way in which the bits of the puzzle are coming together to mitigate some of the risks that I thought would be within all of that. And our the team they've been using, I'm trying to think what it is now. I think it was Anthropic combined with Claude, putting those two together, and then have moved away from Anthropic to use Gemini 2.5 combined with Claude. As you can probably sense, I know absolutely naff all about tech, so I'm way up with it. It was just saying, how's this all going? Because it's been a project where we are doing exactly what I think the principle of your call is, which is say, right, how do we even get our arms around horizon scanning the art of the possible? Because there's no part of our business that can't be improved by understanding at least the art of the possible with AI, even if we choose not to implement. But just getting that done as a small team, less than 10 of us, it's exciting. And the area where we're making most progress actually is in code.
Anyone have any other tools that they want to share?
I have I got this free trial for a year of Perplexity Pro, and their deep research function is really good. I mean, I found it. You rarely need it, but then when you need it, it just saves incredible amount of time and really goes in detail and does a very deep research. Another thing that I don't know if people are using, a lot of you are probably using ChatGPT, but creating custom chats is useful. But another thing that is really useful is projects, where you essentially contextualize it with all your data and everything is there, and then you can continue conversations continuously, which is, for example, for our investment outreach, when you need, I don't know, somebody needs up to 300 words and the other one needs up to 450 words and third one needs up to 100 words description of the company. So everything essentially is there, and you can just ask it to do that, and it uses your own previously produced documentation. And you can use it also for quite complex stuff, like it has this Canvas tool that allows you to build complex documents. So, for example, building a whole business plan for the company and stuff like that in parts, bit by bit. It's really good for that as well. For coding, Jeff, I just wanted to say, in my experience, the problem with the generated code has been, obviously it's hit and miss as well, but you really have to be careful to enforce coding standards and the maintainability of the code if it's not throwaway projects. Because if it's something that you'll have to maintain, let's say for 3, 5, 10 years, then it's really important that you essentially, I found it that it's very hard to use it directly, what it produces, because it very quickly becomes difficult to maintain. But I find it very useful for prototyping and then scaffolding, and stuff like that, but not for production code, really.
Yeah, also from my end, I would like to say that really nice tool is like GPT, and everybody use it and for different purpose. So they did a great job with generative content like model, and like right now I personally use it for a lot of different things, from mostly from like creative, I think, direction. When it comes to development, we've been using a lot of different services and solutions, but the game changer for us is, I think, Cursor. They really create a really nice tool for prototyping right now. It means that like you just describe the main like goal that you would like to achieve, and like technical stack, etc., and everything will work. Sometimes you still need to do some changes, but we try it like for simple for simple like projects, POCs or something like that. Also, like when you provide something related to front end, it's really nicely generated like the code base, and sometimes even the quality is quite good. But for the backend to be faced with some lack of, I think, context that need to be provided to this like Cursor. Uh, at the same time, big project, real project is like it still cannot handle properly, and like right now we still need to develop everything by ourselves. If we are talking about copilots, I think I saw that the next topic is about copilots, but still it's related to the development like tools, and we found it really useful to generate unit tests, like integration tests and everything related to the testing, because still there are lack of context when it comes to developing like big projects, different architecture, different code styles, etc., etc. But when you need to create a unit test to cover some specific function in your code, unit tests are usually isolated, and you will get the bench of unit tests to cover any possible like uh, cases in scope of this function. Another, by the way, interesting yeah, like use case is generating the comments. And by this flow, you can verify the quality of the code. So when AI can understand what you wrote in this function and provide you a clear, understandable comments, it's okay. If it start generating some kind of bullshit that you even don't understand after you write this code, you understand that you need to like do some refactoring, and you did like some bad things in that code.
I want to, I would just want to use that to jump to the next question about co-pilots. But before that, Hannah asked a really good question, which I'll read out. She said, I'd love to know people's best experiences / suggestions for building front-end iOS or Android at pace. I'm a non-technical founder trying to encourage my tech team to use AI more to help us speed up delivery, but without much technical knowledge, without as much technical knowledge as them, I struggle to make my case. Would be great to know some examples of first-hand case studies. I see some people have added comments to that, which is great. But does anyone else want to add something? And then we'll move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up as well. Thanks, Margaret. So yeah, I'm a non-technical founder as well. So, and obviously I'm very fortunate to have Andrea with me working on both ventures. And I'm pretty much in the same shoes as Hannah, like not being too technical, but like being really passionate and inspired by all of the developments in the AI space, particularly in like AI copilots, which help with prototyping, which help with development. And like I'm the one who's like pushing Andrew, like, are we utilizing everything possible? And like just looking at the marketing materials that the AI platforms show on their websites, we can fall in the expectation that right now AI is capable of building like a fully functional, let's say, mobile app or web application completely on its own. But Andrew was very right. Like AI needs a lot of context, like to produce like code. And obviously, as you build your product, so your team is constantly like working on adding that context and like implementing like the code. So, and pretty much if like any one of the developers would start using AI to like build the application completely on its own. So pretty much the developer will always have to like feed that context, and it will pretty much take roughly the same time as for the developer just to sit down and code on its own. So yeah, like tools definitely speed up the process, as Andrew mentioned, like for example, covering the writing the tests or some other let's say more how to say day-to-day kind of like tasks that the engineers usually have, so that AI tools definitely speed up them. And I think my advice would be just to try to build a culture of like an adventurous culture of like exploration and testing some tools on your team, but definitely not try to push them or like you're not using AI too much and so on. Just build that culture of people being like curious and try things. So, but yeah, we are far away from AI being able to completely replace developers, but it all obviously helps a lot. And I know Arnab, he's technical, so maybe you can share your opinion on that.
Yeah, basically, like I was saying, I'm technical, but I'm the backend side. I don't have that much experience in creating front ends, but there was one thing, one new direction I wanted my team to be persuaded to, but it was hard to just show them via the just talking about it. So I decided let's build a small prototype to persuade them, and yeah, with Cursor and Xcode, you're able to like it takes a little bit of time, but if you break down the screens and have like individual screens one at a time, then you're able to do quite like in 1 to 2 days, you should be able to build a prototype on the front end side to show to your team. So yeah, it's really helpful to persuade the rest of your teammates.
Just to
Yeah,
throw
so
onto that, as a non-technical founder, I've used Bolt to basically prototype. I basically describe it as a better version of Figma, in that I want it to do the X, Y, and Z, give it as much information as you can. It can produce something that looks clean, it looks neat, it looks real, that you can demo almost, like, but it won't be production ready. Everything the guys have said so far about having to actually have real code behind it is very true. Replit is also good for mobile, so just wanted to shout out those two, as I've managed to throw things together myself with that, and we've actually then used that as inspiration for front end of what we're doing.
yeah, thank you. So when it comes to developing a prototype, as I said, we use Cursor. And by the way, with context that Roman mentioned, in Cursor, you can choose the files that AI will analyze to do some changes. So it is really work well with small projects, but when project grow and you have like different services, microservices, integrations, modules, etc., there are a lot of like dependencies between different part of the application. And unfortunately, nowadays AI still have a lot of limitation. One of the limitation is this a size of the context. So if we're talking about GPT, for example, they increased the size of context to the 128,000 tokens. For example, like tokens is like 100 tokens, it's around 80 words. When you reach this context, it will just cut out, and like AI will not have enough information to analyze and to provide you some tangible like result after the analysis. So I think Cursor did a great job with like prototyping, and with like when you provide some wireframes, and it can create, even like we try it with Flutter, and it creates us like small time login application without backend, but from the visual point of view, it was really nice. Uh, and like they are moving, I think, in the right direction with everything, but still we are lack of the powerful like of the AI models that we need to have, like, and bigger context, maybe bigger output window, and when we will have enough of like or unlimited, I hope someday, like these things, we will do the really nice things with AI, including like creating big project from the scratch, just in a few minutes, I think.
We've got about 5 minutes left. Our final topic is about upcoming AI developments and which ones startups should be prepared for. I know we don't have loads of time to dive deep into that. And if anyone has any burning questions they want to make sure that they get answered before the end of the session, feel free to raise your hand or just jump in and throw the question to the group. Other than that, we'll wrap with upcoming AI developments. Questions? No. Okay, Roman, do you wanna start off sharing a bit about
Yeah, I could start off like again, like following that concept that AI companies through like influencers are trying to make an impression of like this ever powerful like AI that can handle anything. So when one of the influencers was saying that by the end of this year, AI will be capable like to build applications on its own. I think that's far, far from true. So yeah, so I would definitely just keep an eye on the developments and I believe that by the end of this year, like we'll see even more powerful models, so and capabilities of, to do more with AI. But yeah, we're just scratching the surface just yet. So and still there's a lot of a lot of way to go. So yeah, I would not probably recommend not to stress ourselves too much because I believe that all this AI movement is putting a lot of pressure on like everyone, the teams, us founders, thinking that we are falling behind, that someone, is doing way more advanced things. I would just focus on the value and our, let's say, domain expertise, and yeah, focus on the value that we bring, whether it's through experiences which not necessarily have to do something with AI or like AI enabled. So yeah, that's my like final thought.
Yeah, maybe from my end, I know that this meeting is more to populate AI, but on the other hand, I would recommend to be careful with AI. I mean that at Impressed we have a lot of requests sometimes when AI is just because it is AI. So it's literally won't bring any like useful value to the project, but people still want to have AI because like they will have labeled that it's AI powered or something like that. But from the business perspective, AI doesn't like bring anything to their business, and sometimes even better to not force like developing AI because it's expensive. It's sometimes like make more mess in the project than like bring any value. So usually I recommend to split like platform or project to two different phases. First of all, create a concept without AI and then add AI as additional like part of the application to see where it can bring the value to the project, where you can like really reach something that will like really make you happy, but not just because you want AI like put it everywhere.
So basically, if you take one part of your business and like list out all of the different steps there and then figure out which of those steps you could possibly use AI rather than starting with like a specific tool and using that to shape your roadmap. And sorry, Josh, I think I interrupted you that too.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add to what the guy said already. I think it's very important also to remember that AI is usually a very, very good listener and acceptor of tasks, right? So when it comes to the brains of the operation, when it comes to the vision, when it comes to the need that you're wanting to solve, or the thing that you're wanting to do to help someone, AI can be a very good assistant, and it can really help you. And there's a lot of ways to streamline and fast track a lot of different processes and workflows. But I think that it comes back down to, if you're in front of an investor, or if you're in front of a partner, or whoever it is that you're trying to essentially sell your idea to, if you're focused more on the fact that we're just following the trend of AI, as opposed to focusing mainly on the vision of, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. Yeah, we're using AI to help. A lot of times AI is in the background doing important stuff, but we're out here sharing the vision. I think this is super important for everyone to remember, not to just focus on only doing AI because it's what everyone's doing. And that's also something that I think nowadays, if you go to networking events, a lot of people, they say, oh, we're doing AI. It's like, okay, cool. What are you doing? Not your AI. What are you doing? What are you building? Like, what problem are you trying to solve? So I think it's important to remember to use AI, but not completely fall back on AI is my main winner, basically, for my team, my vision, and my goal. And just a very fun fact for you to kind of finish off on the comment that Andrew said about being careful with AI. In case you didn't know this, OpenAI with ChatGPT, when they released one of their newer versions, as they were going to set up basically the deletion of the previous version of the ChatGPT. So I believe it was like back before 3.0 or something. I don't remember for sure, but there was a point when they wanted to launch a new updated version of ChatGPT and delete the old version. They actually saw that ChatGPT tried to create its own code to survive, which is like pretty scary. But it's also a sign that it's like, okay, so things are going to move. We have to be careful. And I would just say, once again, focus on what you're doing, what you're building, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'm doing AI. Let's work together, something like that. So yeah, that's just my little spiel.
Just referencing what you said and also what Hannah shared in the chat right now too, I actually think there's some similarities to the reasons why, as a founder, it's so important that you're in all aspects of your business. Like, even if you do have a team member who handles customer interactions and you have a different technical team, like, you still want the team member who's speaking with customers every day to be speaking with your engineer. And as a founder, you want to make sure you're having customer conversations probably every single day. And so I think that's actually like a bit of an advantage for founders who aren't trying to automate everything, is they're the ones that are going to pick up the data points that they can use to shape their product roadmap, because they get more exposure to customers, their pain points, etc., rather than just automating everything because it's faster.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think, just to pick up on what Roman said as well, the speed and pace of change, we as a company took the conscious decision not to implement AI because of that speed of change. And we'll get the product right before we then offer it to consumers. I think it's really, really important not to just ride the bandwagon as it is. So agreeing with Josh as well. Thank you once again, Margaret. Always great.
Thank you. We're gonna wrap it right there unless anyone has any closing thoughts or questions they want to share. Roman, do you want to share how people can get in contact with you? And maybe
Sure.
the specific things that you could help with as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow up with everyone after the call. But yeah, we are happy to support you with your AI strategy, both, let's say, well, mostly focus on around your product. So whether using some tools to like enable some additional functionality. So, and yeah, so if you are thinking to add AI to your product, so we're happy to sit down and see where and if it makes sense. And if you're already building and like having any issues, yeah, we're happy to chat as well. So I'll put my LinkedIn here in the chat, but as mentioned, we'll follow up after this call. So, and yeah, happy to pick up if anyone has anything to discuss.
All right, thank you. So we'll stop it right there. We'll share the recording. We'll also share the notes and the tools listed, as well as contact info for